Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the dramatic and honestly kind of bittersweet conclusion to the life of one of history's absolute most legendary figures. We're looking at Deuteronomy 34, which records the final, fateful days of Moses.
So think about this for a second. Where exactly is history's greatest prophet actually buried? It's a profound mystery, right? One that literally still captivates historians and theologians to this very day. But to really grasp the ending of this epic story, we first have to rewind just a bit and examine his final moments.
Let's jump into part 1, the final vision, a glimpse of the promised land. Okay, let's set the scene based on the text. Moses climbs up from the plains of Moab to Mount Nebo, specifically right to the top of Pisgah, directly across from Jericho, and it's here that the Lord shows him the sheer scale of the land promised to the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Just imagine standing there and taking in this sweeping, almost impossible panorama. We're talking from the land of Gilead all the way to Dan, stretching across all of Naphtali, Ephraim, and Manasseh. He sees the land of Judah reaching out to the utmost sea, and then down south, taking in the plain of Jericho, the city of palm trees, all the way onto Zoar. It's a massive, massive view.
But this magnificent, sweeping view comes with a totally devastating caveat from the Lord. He says, "I have caused thee to see it with thine eyes, but thou shalt not go over thither." Wow, that just perfectly captures the incredibly bittersweet emotional weight of this text. I mean, we've all worked tirelessly toward a goal, right? But imagine leading a grueling journey for literally decades, only to have your story end right there at the finish line. You can see it, but you can't step into it.
Which brings us to part 2, Death and Mystery, the Passing of a Legend.
Following that divine decree, Moses, the servant of the Lord, dies right there in the land of Moab, exactly according to the word of the Lord. But the source text records a really striking, honestly surprising physical contradiction at the time of his death. Despite living to the extreme age of 120 years old, his physical vitality was completely intact. The text explicitly points out that his eye was not dim and his natural force was not abated. Basically, he was in absolute perfect health at the very moment he passed away.
And here, my friends, is where the true enigma really kicks in. The text states that he was buried by God in a valley in the land of Moab over against Beth Peor. But then, crucially, it adds this massive caveat, "But no man knoweth of his sepulchre unto this day." And that right there creates an enduring historical mystery. The exact resting place of this absolute monumental figure, it remains entirely unknown.
So, after his passing, the children of Israel wept and mourned for Moses in the plains of Moab. And this wasn't just a brief farewell, it lasted for exactly 30 days. That's a deeply significant period in ancient traditions, essentially halting everything, putting the entire journey on pause until this official time of weeping and mourning was fully completed.
Moving on to our final section, part 3, Joshua and the Legacy, a new era begins.
Once that mourning period wrapped up, the narrative rapidly shifts gears to the transition of power. We see the elevation of Joshua, the son of Nun. The text tells us that because Moses had previously laid his hands upon him, Joshua was now completely full of the spirit of wisdom. And because of this, the children of Israel hearkened unto him, stepping up to follow his lead and doing exactly as the Lord had commanded Moses. The baton is officially passed.
But, even as this exciting new era begins, the text firmly establishes a monumental baseline. It says there never arose another prophet in Israel quite like Moses. Never again. It illustrates this totally unmatched legacy through 3 unparalleled pillars of action. First, his intimate divine connection. He knew the Lord face to face. Second, his outward miracles. He was sent to do incredible signs and wonders in Egypt, to Pharaoh and his entire land. And third, his internal leadership. He showed a mighty hand and great terror in the sight of all Israel, a true force of nature.
All of which leaves us with a final, really provocative thought to chew on. Considering this unmatched legacy of wonders, terrors, and direct divine communication, why was his final resting place intentionally hidden from history? Was it perhaps a testament that a true legacy is built on words and actions, and not just a physical monument that people can visit? It is such a fascinating ultimate fate for a man who literally spoke to the Lord face to face, yet faded into an unmarked, unknown grave. Definitely think about that as you reflect on this incredible piece of ancient text. Thanks for joining me on This Explainer, and I'll catch you next time.